Green 4, Green 4. This is Square Control, where are you?
We're nearly there. What you guys and us voted the second best fight in the entire James Bond franchise doesn't even involve James Bond. But my word, it's got everything, and a very worthy runner-up. This is probably the most famous fight from Bond fans in the series that doesn't have Bond in. He's already killed the chef, and he's now on to the main mission. And this really, he's ready to go. He's ready now to start chucking the milk balls, the bombs, but he's interrupted by a man we know as Green 4 now, who is obviously one of the guards who's working there. From the moment he's interrupted and he comes into the door, and he's an older guy to be fighting a really young, fit guy like Necros. What an impressive performance from Green 4.
When you've heard us discuss, what makes the fights from Connery and George Lazenby and even Roger Moore great, this is a perfect example of that. So it takes everything that is a great Bond fight, but sort of modernizes it, and so he's using sort of more modern day kind of film techniques and editing. Just it feels like it's obviously very contemporary as it would be, but kind of takes it up a notch. So now there's even more danger, and the fact that it's in a kitchen, you've just got so many great things, and I can imagine what it would be like turning up on set or like designing this fight, going, right, well, we've got a stove here, but what can we do with that? We've got boiling water, we've got this, we've got knives. It just opens up, allows you to be really creative and add that sort of brutal, scrappy fights that Bond films are really famous for. And I absolutely love the fact that it isn't Bond. That it is this character who has this moment, and by having this character be in such one of the highlights of the film and one of the fights that's a highlight of the series, just opens up the world, I think, of Bond. It just stops it from being it's just only about Bond, and Bond's always the only one on this adventure. And I think it's a perfectly paced scene where it's just long enough where it feels like it's satisfying, that it ends on a real kind of, even though the goodie loses, it's satisfying as in the fight is like, you feel like it wasn't one-sided, and so it feels like it was a fair fight, the scrap between the two, and then to end on that kind of, a little bit of humor, and then again that just gives you a moment to sort of catch your breath, and then we're off with the plot again and the story again. It's standard. John Barry's score is he's really just perfected what it is to do music, action music, but it's taking music from the drama and the romance and everything else, and sort of putting it through his blender and just being able to do it he's just absolutely nailed it. Around this period, he's absolutely nailed it, and this is like the pinnacle for me. I think it's a brilliant scene from a brilliant film.
It's a perfect scene, isn't it? This is the only fight where the baddie wins, potentially, on some levels, then. What an amazing introduction to Necros, that he gets this platform, the baddie milkman. And the only way you can really do that is to bring in a character who no one knows who he's going to beat up, because otherwise you think, oh no, what's going to happen to this guy or what? Bill Weston, the stuntman here, brings so much colour to a character to the point that we called him Green 4, to the point that he's like a cult hero.
Green 4 to base.
He gets his walkie-talkie, he sees it, and he goes in there full on, and it starts with chops, roly-poly, very straight, like you'd expect any kind of security guard to go at it, followed by, right, we're getting the rolling pin. No, we're going to get the blending machine. We're just going to put someone's face on a stove. We're going to throw pans of boiling water at people. And it's one thing after another. And what starts as quite I won't say regimented, but quite an official way of fighting just turns into this full-on brawl. It's amazing. You've got the score going on. You've got everyday objects firing on.
The setting is brilliant. You wouldn't get it in, a Roger Deakins Bond film at all, because it doesn't look pretty, does it? It's just a kitchen. It's real. There's too many implements for it to look pretty, because again, you need those implements there for the fight to stand out. I think we've said it gets the sweet spot between a scrap where people can't, like the Goldfinger bathtub one, where it's really not clumsy, but so realistic to the point of we're just going for it. It's sort of halfway between that and the more choreographed fight. So you've got the techniques that that Andreas told us about the ballet kind of kicks and the flip from Bill Weston. But like you say, John, it goes into that desperation, and we're really testing the limits of a PG again here. This is quite, as kids, like that bit where he pushes his cheek into the
with the scream.
Yeah, the screams. Yeah, it's pretty horrible. Necros is hurt in some of it. He does take some beatings, and I think that only makes it a more interesting fight. It's two-sided, like we say. I think this is as good as it gets in terms of a fight that I would want in any film at any period in film history. I think it really has to be amongst the best in the series and cinema. Really, I mean, there are fights which will go on longer. There are fights which will have more scope in terms of moving around buildings, chases, elements like that, and more consequence because Green 4, of course, isn't even a major ally or anything like that. But in terms of a combat fight in a compact location, using the environment with, I think, the best Bond director, the best film composer ever, and you can't get better than this for me, I don't think.
When Necros wins the fight and wins it in nasty circumstances, straight away, it's the fact that we're allowed to breathe by him doing his impersonation with the smirk on his face, and you think so, wow, this guy has so much character.
The shot from John Glenn, the zoom in, there's a slight zoom for the saucepan, not left-handed, across the head, and the John music.
Green 4 to base. We have dangerous gas leaks in main building. Some personnel overcome. Evacuate immediately. Send for emergency medical services.
And we've just seen he's battered him, but he's also an impersonator. And he's also got a sense of humour with that. It's the perfect platform to a villain. It's up there with any fight, and it doesn't include Bond.
So there you go. Keep watching to find out what you guys voted for the undisputed #1 James Bond fight of all time.